So the word in Tevat and in the streets of Mondstadt is that in version 1.4, you're looking to pull for a femboy that holds the bow like an absolute gangster, and then when he's done killing whatever it is that he's done killing, he puts it away like an absolute G. But you're wanting to know what talents to prioritize and which ones you should be leveling up first. Well, me being a femboy main, I got you covered. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about that and much more. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. All right, now in all seriousness, we are going to be talking about the talent priority list that you should be using for Venti. Now, this is just going to be in my opinion, of course, and just my 2 cents in advice. So if you have something different or you think you should level them up in a different order, let me know in the comments down below. I'd be really curious in seeing that. But me being a femboy Venti main since almost day one, this is what I did, and this is what I think you should do if you do obtain Venti in version 1.4. Now, I did want to go ahead and quickly mention that I have Venti at level 90, friendship 10, so I've been using him almost like I mentioned since day one, since his banner dropped. I have him at C3, once again, not on purpose. I mentioned this in another video, not on purpose. I just got extremely lucky, and this is where I have his talents at right now. So my opinion on what you should be doing from a talent leveling up priority list, in my opinion, should be his elemental burst, his elemental skill, and then his basic attack. Now, the reason being is because his elemental burst, I think, is one of the best, if not the best elemental burst in the game, because it creates that black hole, because it CCs so damn well, and because whatever other element type that gets absorbed with it, whether it be hydro, pyro, cryo, or electro, does additional damage of that elemental type. So it's just very, very good. And the way you're going to be using Venti for the most part is that you're going to pop his elemental burst, and then you're going to switch him out to your sub or main DPS and infuse that elemental burst, the Wind's Grand Ode, with that element type, so that way they can be doing more damage. So that's the gist of how you're going to be using Venti, just depending if you have that elemental burst ready or not, because you may pop his elemental skill first and then his elemental burst, just depending if you have it ready. Then his elemental skill is an absolutely fantastic one. It knocks the enemies up in the air. It keeps them up there, has them come down slowly. It does damage. It gives them energy back. It's really, really nice, and I think it's extremely useful. Allows you, once again, to CC the enemies, but not only CC them, but allows you to get out of the way, maneuver yourself in a different position, so you can tap it, and then you can allow them to be knocked up and then be able to move around, get into position, and then switch out to your other characters or start doing your charge attacks. However you want to go ahead and play your Venti, or your team, I should say, for that matter. So the elemental skill, very, very nice. And there is a tap and hold feature to it, I should mention. So you have the tap that I just showed, and then you have the hold, which is really nice for exploring the world of Tevat. You can go around, you can do plunge attacks now with your different characters, and you can go ahead and have a wider range of the enemies that you hit with the hold. And then once again, you can switch out, do some plunge attacks, and it's all good stuff. Really, really useful elemental skill, in my opinion. Now, after that, like I mentioned, would then be the basic attacks if you want to. And as you can see, the way I leveled up the talents is exactly in that order. Now, the basic attack is decent, but for most bow characters, you're not going to be using their basic attacks all that much, and that goes the same for Venti, except if you have C1, which is splitting gales. Now, I'm not saying you will, and I'm not saying you have to have this. I'm just saying if you do have this, it makes the basic attack, or charge attack, I should say, a little bit better, because with C1, fires 2 additional arrows per aim shot, each dealing 33% of original arrows damage. Basically, you're going to be firing 3 arrows instead of 1. And this is really nice for, you know, bosses, ruin guards, ruin hunters, enemies, clusters of them, because you can hit multiple of them. But basically, if you're able to hit the ruin guard or ruin hunter or the boss with all 3 arrows, it does actually some pretty damn decent damage, I'm not gonna lie, and it's really, really nice. So if you have C1 on Venti, once again, not needed, once again, not necessary, but it is not bad. It's pretty good. It does some decent damage, so I'm thinking about leveling that up a little bit further as well, because I know there are some Venti mains that take Venti into boss fights, solo bosses, solo Spiral Abyss, and things of that nature, and do really well with just Venti as not only a support and CC'er, but also as a damage dealer, because he can be that for you. He can be a burst DPS, he can be a pretty good DPS character just in general, albeit that's not his main priority role and that's not how he's built. but you can still utilize him that way based off of, you know, if you do have certain constellations or how well you have him built, because he can do damage. Don't get it wrong. This this femboy who holds this bow like a gangster, he can do some damage. Don't let him fool you. The pigtails and all of that, he'll the stockings, don't get it twisted. He'll put some damage on you. He'll put some hurting. So he's a good character. He's absolutely fantastic, but that is just basically, in a nutshell, just not to make things too overcomplicated and just to give you the Cliff Note version. That's how I would run his, or that's how I would level up his talents, excuse me. I would go Wind's Grand Ode, his elemental burst, then his elemental skill, and then his basic attacks. But once again, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Let me know in the comments down below if you would do it differently. And if you're a Venti main right now and you've used Venti as long as I have, let me know if you've done it differently, because I'd be really curious on that. Also, really quickly wanted to mention, he does take these talent book, the Philosophy of Ballad, Teaching Guides of Ballad, all that good stuff. He does take the slime, excuse me, concentrate, and he also takes the Tail of Boreas to be able to level up his talents. So just wanted to mention that just in case you guys were curious. That's what it's going to take to level up his talents, and I'm going to be working on that basic attack because, like I mentioned, with that C1, he does some pretty damn good damage, and I want to test it out a little bit more, especially before he drops. So we're going to be working on that. But anyways, guys, I do hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this was helpful in at least giving you an idea, if you pull Venti and you're starting to level up his talents, the priority list on how you should level them up. I just think the Elemental Burst is too damn good not to focus on. But the elemental skill is a close second. So really quickly, before I end the video, I don't mean to drag this out any longer, but I feel like I should mention this. Do the elemental burst first, and then the Skyward Sonnet, the elemental skill, can be very closely followed behind it, or you can damn near have them neck and neck, just depending on how you want to do it. As you can see, I focus more on the elemental burst, and then the elemental skill is close behind. And then you could leave the basic attack for now, do a few levels. I should have probably gotten this to like level 5 or at least 6 baseline, right? So you can do that, kind of baseline this to 6, baseline this one to 6, and then just focus on the elemental burst all the way. That'll give you a really damn good Venti to work with. So that is just my 2 cents. I felt like I needed to mention that. But anyways, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Once again, I do hope you enjoyed the video. And once again, I hope you enjoyed your time here. If you did and you liked the video, drop a like. It helps out the channel tremendously. And if you really liked the video and you got something from it, it was useful for you, consider subscribing as well. Join the Discord, a link in the description down below. This is all my shameless plugs I'm doing right towards the end. And I'm going to get out of here. Remember to stand out, be different, have fun, go further beyond in everything that you do. And until next time, my boys, until next time, it's your homie Cody GT, and I'm out. Bye, guys.